Hola amigos, he encontrado esto muy interesante del doctor Michael Salla, que se titula Exponiendo la gran mentira de la tecnología americana de platillos volantes. Así que vamos a verlo. Primero lo traducimos un poquito, porque queremos ver lo que pone aquí. Bien. El Director de Inteligencia Nacional está programado para publicar un informe completo el 25 de junio al Senado de los Estados Unidos, que afirmará, según las filtraciones oficiales, que los ovnis son una amenaza desconocida para la seguridad nacional. ¿Por qué es esto una gran mentira? ¿Y cuál es la agenda del Estado profundo detrás de promover esto ahora a través de los principales medios de comunicación, después de décadas de descartar el fenómeno ovni? Mira este cortometraje sobre cómo Estados Unidos ha realizado ingeniería inversa secretamente, capturando naves espaciales extraterrestres desde la Segunda Guerra Mundial y hasta el punto de lanzar alguna de sus tecnologías secretas de ovnis a través de la Fuerza Espacial de los Estados Unidos. Deseo agradecer a mi inspirada e increíblemente talentosa esposa, Angélica Cliff, por las muchas horas que dedicó a crear este cortometraje y a crear conciencia pública sobre estos temas críticos. Michael Salla, PhD, doctor. Vale.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west.
This is now a new reality that we are living in. And it doesn't matter if we bury our heads in the sand. It doesn't cease to exist. UFOs are real. The UFO presence is real. And it's something that the scientific community should be looking at.
Oh my gosh, dude. Wow. Let's try.
Disclosure is coming. The deep state wants you to believe UFOs are a threat. What's the agenda behind it all? Why now? To understand what's happening today, we have to go back to the beginning of this saga, to the time of World War II. This is the period when a great evil departed Europe to make a new home within the United States, and stayed. Today, we are living with the results. However, Serbia's greatest prophet, Ivica Prokic, foresaw that this great evil would be forced to leave the planet during our current time of awakening. But let's not get ahead of our story. First, here is the sequence of events that led to America's great reverse engineering accomplishments. In February 1942, during the epic Los Angeles air raid, also known as the Battle of Los Angeles, the U.S. Army and Navy recovered 2 crashed extraterrestrial spacecraft. Both were found to be unmanned drones. Meanwhile, the U.S. Navy had embedded a group of highly trained spies into top German aviation companies. Through these spies, the Navy learned that the Nazis had similar flying saucer craft in their possession and were reverse engineering them for the war effort. President Roosevelt still issued an order in 1944 for America to abandon all plans of reverse engineering the captured saucers from the LA air raid due to the advanced science behind them. Instead, the U.S. would focus on perfecting the atomic bomb and on building conventional weapons to win World War II. Since America knew that Nazi Germany had developed numerous advanced aerospace technologies, Army Air Force General Hap Arnold created a scientific advisory group in August of 1944 to develop a 10 to 30-year research and development plan to learn about the Nazi advances and duplicate them. In May 1945, Operation Lusty was implemented. Travel to occupied Germany began to find advanced German aerospace technologies and the Nazi scientists who had worked on them. The goal was to acquire both and bring them over to the U.S. Operation Lusty's scientific team was headed by America's most esteemed aeronautical scientist, Professor Theodor von Karman. Later, in January 1946, von Karman was appointed as the first head of the Army Air Force's Scientific Advisory Board to study the captured Nazi and extraterrestrial technologies. In February 1947, Operation High Jump, commanded by Admiral Richard Byrd, suffered a humiliating defeat in Antarctica at the hands of a breakaway German colony that had successfully developed and weaponized flying saucer-shaped craft with the help of reptilian extraterrestrials from Alpha Draconis. The stunning Antarctic defeat was kept secret from the U.S. public and the world through a propaganda film called The Secret Land. Later, in July 1947, an extraterrestrial spacecraft crashed near Roswell, New Mexico. Von Karman and the Scientific Advisory Group studied the crash vehicle, which belonged to a group of gray aliens from the Orion constellation. However, this extraterrestrial spacecraft in the possession of the U.S. military proved to be too far advanced for American scientists. Operation Paperclip. Even the German scientists brought to America under this controversial top-secret U.S. intelligence program were unable to help U.S. authorities fully understand the spacecraft. Was the intentionally crashed extraterrestrial spaceship a Trojan horse? The Orion Greys knew that U.S. scientists did not yet grasp the necessary scientific principles to successfully reverse engineer their ship. A great evil had now moved from European onto American soil. The Draco reptilians ordered the Antarctic Germans to offer to aid U.S. research and development efforts if a deal could be struck. The German paperclip scientists were to act as the intermediaries. Consequently, in the mid-1950s, the Eisenhower administration reached an agreement with the breakaway German group in Antarctica who were allied with the Draco reptilians. A second agreement was reached with the Greys from Orion, whom Eisenhower did not know were also minions of the Draco. The resulting deals had devastating consequences for the U.S. Multiple insiders have confirmed the extraterrestrial assistance given to U.S. reverse engineering programs and the leading role played by German Operation Paperclip scientists. After several decades of difficult research and development, the U.S. Air Force finally began to test its first flying saucer prototypes in the 1970s. Major aerospace companies, such as Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works, played a vital role in these reverse engineering efforts. At a Defense Week symposium on future space systems in Washington, D.C., held on September 20th, 1983, Skunkworks CEO Ben Rich said, "Unfortunately, I cannot tell you what we have been doing for the last 10 years. I can tell you about a contract we recently received. The Skunkworks has been assigned the task of getting ET back home." In 1988, the first fully operational flying saucer craft were displayed at an Edwards Air Force Base air show for different customers, such as the CIA, NRO, U.S. Navy, and Air Force. Only 5 years later, in 1993, Ben Rich again discussed the reverse engineering programs when he publicly stated, "We now have the technology to take ET home." However, it was determined by the powers that be that public disclosure would not happen. To hide these stunning reverse engineering breakthroughs, a sophisticated psychological warfare plan was developed and implemented. Robert Lazar was chosen as one of the unwitting patsies who would be used to fool the American public. Lazar had been carefully placed within a staged, unsuccessful reverse engineering program at Area 51's S4 facility in 1988. Similarly, in 1997, classified files for an unsuccessful reverse engineering program at an undisclosed aerospace corporation were leaked to Dr. Stephen Greer and shown to Vice Admiral Thomas Wilson, then Deputy Director of the Defense Intelligence Agency. When Vice Admiral Wilson pursued this reverse engineering program, he was denied access to the corporate-run program. In 2002, the Vice Admiral continued to seek more information about the reverse engineering program and privately consulted with Dr. Eric Davis, a breakthrough technology scientist who was known to have worked on similar alien technologies being secretly studied in Nevada by the corporation Bigelow Aerospace. It would be Dr. Davis who, beginning in 2018, briefed the U.S. Congress and the Pentagon on an unsuccessful reverse engineering program involving a recovered extraterrestrial spacecraft familiar to him. These Davis briefings played a role in Senator Marco Rubio requesting the Director of the National Intelligence to submit a comprehensive intelligence community report on unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAPs, which is scheduled for delivery to the United States Senate by the end of June 2021.
Have unidentified flying objects been seen?
Well, sure. We have lots of reports about what we call unidentified aerial phenomenon. There are a lot more sightings than have been made public. Sometimes we wonder whether or not our adversaries have technologies that are a little bit further down the road than we thought or that we realized.
So why is the deep state now having the mainstream media push the UAPs are a threat scenario? Number one, fear is a great tool to manipulate and control the public. Number two, it's all a big distraction, meant to shift attention away from the collapsing narratives concerning the 2020 election and COVID. Number three, it's another way for the deep state to raise massive amounts of money through congressional appropriations geared toward the manufactured UAP threat. The planned narrative is for the U.S. public to eventually be told of a captured extraterrestrial spacecraft in U.S. possession and how decades of reverse engineering efforts have failed. That is, allegedly until recent breakthroughs. Intriguingly, a notable contactee has recently reported that elites are evacuating to Mars in order to escape collapsing deep state agendas and the ensuing ramifications. If true, our Serbian prophecy made by Ivica Prokic foretelling how a great evil would be forced to leave the planet has begun. During this time, he stated, all the secrets will be revealed. And after the evil controller's final departure, Mr. Prokic foresaw a new golden age for humankind, which he predicted will last for 1,000 years. So it seems nothing can stop what's coming. Learn more. Dr. Michael Salla boldly exposes the lies and uncovers the truth. Visit exopolitics.org for Dr. Salla's latest articles and podcasts. These are always free to the public. For those who want to go deeper, learn the full history of America's reverse engineering of flying saucers and other advanced anti-gravity vehicles. Discover what kinds of reverse-engineered spacecraft the U.S. military and corporations have successfully developed and plan to reveal through the U.S. Space Force. Find out the role Space Force is to play in the official disclosure of anti-gravity spacecraft and how a Star Trek future is planned. Coming June 19th, 2021, an all-new 4-hour webinar intensive. Register today.